All right, let's talk about this Bears-Saints game coming up on Sunday. Because let me tell you, this is so much more than just another game on the schedule. We're talking about a collision of old rivals, former teammates, and a team that is just desperate to break a really painful curse.
So what's the real story behind this showdown? Is it about a team on the rise trying to prove they're legit? Or is it about a franchise trying to finally shake off this historic curse? Maybe it's even a personal vendetta for a QB and a coach looking for some revenge. Well, the answer is, yeah, it's pretty much all the above.
And if you look at the tail of the tape, it's a total study in contrasts. You've got the Chicago Bears, who are absolutely riding high right now. They're 3-2, they've won 3 straight games. And then you have the New Orleans Saints. They're struggling to find their footing at 1-5. This is a classic case of momentum versus sheer desperation.
But maybe the most fascinating storyline of all is the one between the two guys under center. This is a tale of 2 QBs, and let's just say they have a lot of history.
Yep, they were once teammates. If you go back to 2021, Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler were both at Oklahoma. And it was a massive deal that season when Williams, who was just a freshman, ended up taking the starting job from Rattler. And now, for the very first time as pros, they're facing off.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Their teams have totally opposite records, right? But if you look at their stats, they are shockingly close. I mean, look at this. Rattler has a few more yards, Williams has a few more touchdowns, and their QBR rank, they're literally 15th and 16th in the entire league. It's basically a statistical dead heat.
And get this, it adds another layer to their whole rivalry. They're both in this personal race to hit a big milestone. Caleb Williams, he's closing in on 2,000 passing yards for the season. He just needs 821 more.
And guess who's right there with him? Spencer Rattler needs just 783 yards to hit that exact same mark for the first time in his career. So you've got this little personal scoreboard going on within the game itself. It's a race to the same goal. Okay, so that's the quarterbacks. But now let's zoom out to the sidelines because the chess match between the coaches, it's just as juicy. We're talking new eras clashing with some, well, old grudges.
So you've got new faces in charge for both teams. First-year head coaches Ben Johnson for the Bears and Kellen Moore for the Saints. But the real drama? That's with the Bears' defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen. Because up until last season, he was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Now he's in Chicago, and he has turned that defense into an absolute turnover machine. They've got the second most interceptions in the entire NFL.
And you better believe his old players know what's coming. The Saints' star defensive end, Cameron Jordan, kind of put it perfectly. He said something like, "You love to see it, but it's not what you want to see on Sunday." Basically, he's happy for the guy, but he knows facing one of Allen's defenses is an absolute nightmare.
All right, so beyond all the personal stuff, there's this dark cloud of history just hanging over this game. For the Bears, it's not just a Saints problem. Honestly, it feels more like a full-blown curse.
8. Just let that number sink in. The Chicago Bears have lost 8 consecutive games to the New Orleans Saints. That includes a playoff game, too. It's this huge psychological hurdle that's been hanging over them for years.
And we're not talking about stuff that happened in the 90s. Look at the recent history. We're talking close games, that playoff loss, heartbreaking finishes. Time and time again, the Saints just find a way to win this game.
You can bet the fans are feeling it too. There was this great quote from a Bears fan on Reddit that just sums it all up perfectly. They were saying, after a huge emotional win, can this team actually turn around and finally take care of business against the one team they just can't seem to beat? Okay, so with all that drama as the backdrop, let's talk X's and O's. Where is this game actually going to be won and lost?
Okay, look no further. This is the matchup to watch. The Saints have Alvin Kamara, and they want to run the football. And they are going up against the Bears' run defense that is giving up, wait for it, 5.7 yards per carry. That is the second worst in the entire NFL. That is a huge, glaring weakness for Chicago.
But on the flip side of that, the Bears have a massive advantage when they throw the ball. You've got stars like Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, and they're going to be attacking a Saints cornerback group that, yeah, they're talented, but they're also super young and inexperienced. That could be a real problem for New Orleans.
And this right here, this is your classic unstoppable force meets immovable object situation. Spencer Rattler has been crazy careful with the football. Only 1 interception on over 200 throws. But he's going against that Dennis Allen defense we talked about, a defense that absolutely lives to create takeaways. So, something's got to give, right?
So, when you put all these storylines and matchups into a blender, what comes out? What do the odds makers think? Let's follow the money.
And you can see that key matchup we talked about pop up right in the betting lines. Take Alvin Kamara's rushing yards prop. The line is set pretty low, at 44.5 yards. Now bettors are looking at that number, then they're looking at the Bears' awful run defense, ranked 31st, and they're thinking, there's a big opportunity here.
The game odds themselves tell the story pretty clearly. The Bears are the heavy favorites here. They're at -225, which basically means Vegas thinks they're very likely to win. They're also favored by 4.5 points, which tells you that their momentum and playing at home are big factors.
And it's not just Vegas. The experts pretty much all agree. The general thinking is that Chicago's offense is just more consistent right now, they're the healthier team, and playing at Soldier Field is a big deal. When you put it all together, the projected score a lot of people are landing on is Bears 27, Saints 20.
So that's the big picture. Is the momentum of this rising Bears team finally going to be enough to shatter that 8-game curse? Or is history and a quarterback looking for his own redemption going to repeat itself? It's a classic showdown of momentum versus history. And on Sunday, we're all going to find out which one wins.